Channel 3 is the future.
Welcome, crew, to What Are Your Three, a Channel 3 podcast, which is a podcast that will be having fun with its two hosts struggling with their voices and will sound very weird. But that's not all weird. We're here to talk with a member of the Channel 3 community about 3 games of their choosing, go through some honorable mentions, some other odds and ends, have a nice little video game discussion. I'm Dan. With me. Still with me, right? Ray, you still there?
I am. I'm still here.
Ray's here. He's with me. Cool, we're good.
It feels like it's been a while. It's been a while since we've all been together, but tonight's guest, he running with, depends on the night, but runs with the Splatoon crew on Channel 3 and runs with the with all the card stuff going on. It is in fact raddad. Rad, how you doing tonight?
I am doing good. It has been a eventful weekend with back to Barksdale Air Force Base, me being military. We just had a tournament yesterday, May 3rd on that, and it's been just a hectic day.
I saw the tournament run, 3rd place with Piranha Plant. Pretty impressive, because I would argue and say that to play Piranha Plant, you have to basically play the opposite of how you play with Ness.
Wait, why did you do that?
He had a bet for that one to try and win with Piranha Plant.
I did had a bet. My boss told me, because apparently in my unit I'm known to be very good at Smash. So they made a bet with me. They made a bet with me like, hey, play Plant, which I guess Google said it was the worst character in the game.
It's close.
If you can win, I'll give you a day off. So I accepted that bet. I tried, got 3rd overall.
Like I said, yeah, it's I'd say you have to literally do everything the opposite of Ness. As Ness floats around the screen, Piranha Plant wants to stay tethered to the ground as much as possible.
Oh, definitely.
That had to be a whole experience.
Oh, it was rough, but I mean, I made it work. I got as far as I can get. So,
all right. Well, we're gonna get back into that then. We're gonna start off with the actual character I would have thought you were gonna play, and we're going to start off in the world of Earthbound Mother 2, however you want to address this. I'm gonna go ahead.
Oh yeah, I call it Earthbound. That's pretty much how I call it. I know some people prefer it Mother 2, but for me, I call it Earthbound.
I'm going to start off with a simple and obvious question, because I will jokingly give the preamble that this is I jokingly make the Mother 2 comment because this is a sequel to a game that was shelved. They had a localization like partially cooked and said, nah, we're not going to do it. And we can probably discuss that at some point through the course of this, but rather than localize it and go with Mother for the first one, they just said, nah, we're just going to go with Earthbound here and make it the second game. But it's really the first game, so nobody asks why it's the second game, and they can't find the first one. But how did you end up playing this game? Because this is not, in the pantheon of Star Fox, F-Zero, Super Mario World. Earthbound is a game people are like, oh, I've heard of that. But not a lot of people necessarily know what it is. So I have to ask, how did you wander into Earthbound?
So it is infamous known as the game with the big box. It was compared to all the other games. It was include the strategy guide, the game itself, and I think they had a few scratch and sniff cards. So I think back then, it was like $80 or $90 compared to like what all games used to be back then. So I grew up with it because my dad, he played a little bit of games. He was the one who actually got me into games now. He was big into RPG games. He did the Final Fantasy for PlayStation, Super Mario RPG, and then obviously Earthbound came. And that was one of the games where it felt, how do I put it? It was a fun game. It was, distance from all the other games like Dragon Quest, it was all the fantasy, magic, swords, all that. This one, it was just today's America with bats, yo-yos, slingshots, guns. Well, yeah, laser guns. And that's how I came to love of. It was a simple. The game was funny, silly, but in the end, like midway to the end, that's when the game actually started picking up its seriousness.
Yeah, it was a game that wasn't popular either. So your dad? So prior to Earthbound, was your dad into, like you said, like the Dragon Quest? Was he into the RPGs?
He, I don't think he ever played Dragon Quest, but I know he was big on the Final Fantasy, like the old school turn based. That's where I kind of got my love for the RPG series, was from him.
Yeah, I know you mentioned the PlayStation. I know if he had run into those beforehand or not. So how old are you when you're playing this one?
Oh, I think I was 7 or 8. I was youngin', so we'll go with that.
Yeah, there's that's the funny part. Like, you got the humor of it. I mean, like they're making fun of poking a little fun at the American, at the Western culture with a lot of things. But there's a lot of reading involved. There's a lot of patience involved that not a lot of 7-year-olds can necessarily follow along with when you're dealing with turn-based games too.
Well, like I said, I mean, I was young. I mean, I didn't exactly read, but I mean, there was a monster, like, spoilers for a 30-plus-year-old game. There's an enemy that, like, every time it talks, it burps. I mean, obviously, I'm a kid. I'm going to laugh about, like, a burping pile of barf. Actually, that's what he was called, Master Belch.
Yeah, I was more thinking, like, okay, when we get to the time travel, the transference of the of their souls or personas to robot bodies and all the things go along. I didn't know if that lost you at all at that point or not. That's what I was trying to figure out.
No, like I said, it's a silly game. I enjoyed it for when I was a kid, and then I came to appreciate it, like, as I get older. I mean, this is one of the games where I can come back to and just play it on a whim. Seeing it, because I was part of, like, the starman.net. I saw the little website grew. I even signed the petition for Mother 3. I wish for it to came to the Wii U, everything.
How many times have you played it on that note?
Oh, I usually play it. I usually try to play it like once a year, just like, just come back to it just to play for funsies. I try to play a little bit on the online because I know, God forbid, there is mods or ROM hacks of the game, which I'm actually waiting for the new one to be released.
All right, so I have to ask, because you on more than one occasion until I got it done, you have requested some very made some very niche requests for this game, as far as quests are concerned. For instance, the King of Dalam quest that you got me to get in there in the tagline of. Can you explain that to everybody? Because I want everyone to understand the odds, the statistics, and the specifics of what is required for this specific challenge you have put forth to conquer in the game. Okay,
so just like in the RPG games, there's always, you got your very rare items, weapons that's only acquired from enemies, or just have to look. What's special about it, it's known as the 1 out of 128 challenge. A lot of enemies hold different items, but the infamous one, the Sword of Kings, it is known to be only found by one enemy. That's only in one part of the stage, where if you beat the boss of that stage, it will never appear. And the game does not tell you nothing about it. The only way you would know if you read the guide, or you just get instantly lucky.
Yeah, or you had the 1 in 128 or whatever it is to pop in there.
Yeah, and there was moments, I think I did one time, I think I was grinding out one area all the way to, I think I was like level 98. And usually the bare minimum, like, to beat the game, it's like maybe level 60 or 65.
So you need to have, so in order to get the complete set, you have to have the sword, the bracer, the diadem, and the cloak, and all this assembled, including the sword that has a 1 in 128 chance from one enemy.
Yep.
One spot, one time.
Yes. All the other items you can just find around the world. You will find, like, from when you get Pooh to the end is when you can find his stuff. But the sword, you have to just get lucky or no.
So I just want everyone to understand my hesitance as Raddad continued. He continued to request this particular one, and as he says this now, I'm changing it to a gold. That's changing to a legendary. If somebody can make that one happen. I'm just waiting to see if Torin Opan or Raddad's the first one to do it.
I actually have it. I'm just too lazy to screenshot it and post it.
Well, you see, he sold me on it before because I've had it in there for months now, and nobody has done it. Listen, you make a request for a special tagline like that, you got to get on that, man. Don't leave me hanging here.
You gotta grab and be the solo with the tagline.
Yeah, I probably will. You know what? I'll do that after the end of this recording session.
It's funny. I got a bunch of games quests just bookmarked, and almost all of them are go screenshot something you did already, so you can go and just post it. They have like 5 right now that I have. Most of them are Switch stuff that I have to like take pictures of and post up, but it just stares at me every day.
I can't wait till my DMs blow up on Wednesday after this drops and people are making strange specific requests about obscure things in a game that they want that I may or may not do.
You got to find someone that has like the 1 in a million, like, hey, I'm the only one who's going to get this quest line or this quest.
And that's usually what I'm going to say no to. That's the thing. Somebody's like, I'm not giving you a tagline just for yourself. There's enough people for this one. It's like, I'm kind of intrigued to see this one. I'm gonna see this. Darth Spiegel, I'm talking to you. I know you're listening to me right now. I'm talking to you. This is exactly where we can't have that. We can't have that, bud. Quick dumb question for you. What is we had a quest one time that asked, what's the most useless video game fact that you know? What is it for Earthbound? Because I think Earthbound was your answer.
The weirdest fact.
Or useless. I don't know, weird or useless.
Oh, useless. I'm trying to think of a useless fact in the game. There's an item in the game where you have to pay someone like $50 or $100, which it's not much. And what it does in the game, it just plays a useless melody. Does nothing. It just wastes your turn.
That would definitely qualify. Mission accomplished.
Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of random stuff. Like you can use a toothbrush, a protractor, a ruler. It essentially just wastes a turn.
So you mentioned you've gotten yourself early on in this one. This was an early internet, late 90s, not earliest days of the internet, but certainly as the internet was starting to catch on. This was a lot of chat rooms, a lot of people trying to track down the fabled localization of Earthbound Beginnings, aka Mother, and eventually I think it was 1998 where copies finally started circulating, because you couldn't just, by the time the 2000s come along, you just emulated an NES or Super Nintendo game on your computer and called it even, but that wasn't even really an option with the computers you're dealing with at the end of the 90s. When did you go back and play the first one? And not that there's certain lawyers or police listening or anything, but I believe you have a copy of some sort of version of Mother 3. I think you've played, right? Like you've done everything at this point, right?
Yes. So I did obtain a copy of English version of Mother 3. I'll let the Nintendo police come after me. And so yes, you were right. It was Mother AKA Earthbound 0, aka Earthbound Beginnings.
Yeah.
There's different versions of it. So yes, you're right. It was never released to America. There was a prototype, which I guess, if I remember, it got auctioned on eBay. Someone grabbed it, uploaded all the schematics to the internet, polished it up a little bit, and then released it out into the wild.
So for context for everybody, we talked about things where like names have changed and all sorts of stuff has changed between the Japanese release and the American release. This one, I believe the list of requirements for Nintendo of America that this violated included blood, body, I will say anatomical parts, cigarettes, alcohol, religious symbols, and notably Peanuts-esque NPCs, non-playable characters that Nintendo of America wanted removed from the course of this. Like this game literally changed. Like they spent a lot of money on it. They shelved it anyway. This changed the way that Nintendo went about producing their games. So that way they got Nintendo of America involved more early. So they weren't spending a bunch of money. Like you could see before and after shots of Mother and then Earthbound Beginnings or whatever you want to call it, where like they've changed various things that have occurred in it. So yeah, you got to see the change of history with this debacle of a game.
Oh yeah, like I said, seeing seeing like the Japanese version and then seeing America, just seeing like because I was young, I didn't understand all the copyright stuff. Like you can't have the Red Cross, the music copyrights that's in the game. Like I think one of the most famous songs was actually they said it was a direct reference to musician Chuck Berry or Chuck Berry. I don't remember which one. There's like a lot of even the infamous like the Beatles Yellow Submarine, because in the game there's legit a yellow submarine, and even an NPC even tells you what was the name of the Beatles song. It was like Yesterday. But it's crazy to see like all the copyright, how they managed all these years, because that's the reason why Earthbound never really did good, because it was like copyright back then was not, it was small. Now because technology is growing, industries, all that, they got to be more careful of what they publish.
Itoei was one for dropping Easter eggs in the game and specifically calling out the gamer as well, telling them to keep quiet about it. Did you happen to find your way into any of those?
Oh, like you mean like the Easter eggs in it or something like that?
Yeah. Like there's like the I'll just say the desert mine where you just step on one specific block and it comes up and tells you like you found this Easter egg and this is Itoei and don't tell anybody about this. Like just stupid stuff like that peppered throughout, or as Tora Nopan referenced before, that like you can find the dog who tells you to write the letter to Itoei.
Oh yes, I remember. Yeah, I think I seen that. I think the dog appears like later in the game, or like at the very end of the game, I think. But it's like I said, there's a lot of good Easter eggs in the game if you got to hunt for a little bit.
Well, again, if you can find it, you can just do like Tora did and make a Nintendo intern have to respond to you in 2019 and beyond. They're still responding to those letters today, for better or for worse.
Oh, I believe it.
Any other thoughts on Earthbound about like what's captured you for all these years and what's made this such a fun series? It is a weird, wild, its own little corner of the Nintendo world.
I would say like if you are a big fan of RPGs, I try to tell a lot of people, give it a try. The beginning is usually rough until you have your second teammate, and then it kind of gets a little smoother. But it's definitely like if a change of pace from like the fantasy to a more modern, I want to say Persona-ish, but it's definitely a good pace if you like the more text-based reading.
Yeah, you're not dealing with random encounters either, which I know is a hang-up for a lot of people for those 90s RPGs. You see the enemies and can approach them and bypass them as you see fit, so you don't have to like try and run to a town and not die because you're out of supplies. It's a little easier in that regard.
Oh, definitely. I think if I recall, it was one of the first few games that actually did the overworld sprite encounter. I think if I recall, and I know a lot of people love that. So I'm surprised not many RPGs do something like that, to where you can do like the instant win. Like if you have 100% chance of winning, the game just like, yep, you win.
You're out. I'm out. Yep. All right, well, on to your second game, The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. A game that I will say Link had a pattern. Part one, kind of gearing up and, you're doing this. And then part two is like going to the dark world or the future. You had a couple games in a row here. We're like, okay, that's the pattern. And I said, nope, we're done. No pattern here. It's going to be wild. You're living the same 3 days over and over again in a very full world. So that's the second game you picked.
It is indeed. I mean, it was a tough one because I was like, okay, do I want to do, which Zelda game did I want to pull out? I know a lot of people say Ocarina of Time. I'm like, I love Ocarina of Time. I'm not saying it's bad, but I feel Majora's Mask is it's a step up for me because I'm looking like at the overall like most of the stuff, like Ocarina of Time, it feels a little bland in some areas, like outside of a Kakariko village. Hyrule Castle is busy. but outside of like Hyrule Castle, there wasn't really much going on. Then you look at Majora's Mask, where there was a lot more, like there was a lot more like stuff was going on. I will say like the only disadvantage or the only thing I don't like about Majora's Mask is, and I know a lot of people will say this, is there's only 4 main dungeons versus Ocarina of Time. I think 3, about 8. I think 8 or 9
12.
dungeons.
No, you said like 7 in the second part, or like 3 in the first, whatever. I don't know. There's a lot more than just 8. I thought.
Yeah, like so. I mean, there's a lot of bunch of mini dungeons in Majora's Mask, but like for as the main ones, like that was the only downside for me was just the 4 big dungeons.
Yeah, but you needed to do all the side quests in this game to be powered up enough to be able to take on the game.
Yes, I mean if you want to do like the 100% full mask, get everything. Yeah, I mean that's the only thing that kind of disappointed.
Major heart containers, man.
Oh yeah, and I think this is one of the first few games that I actually 100% everything, got all the hearts, all the masks, everything.
Yeah, and like the thing is, you have to time out where, like, this one guy is running through high, or whatever. What is it? Not it's not high, Terminus or Termina.
Yeah, Termina Field.
Yeah, so you got to time out where this guy is based on the 3-day cycle. Get him at a specific time, a specific place. If you blow it, you got to start over again.
I think I know
obscure things like that throughout too. It's funny like that.
Oh yeah, well, like I said, I mean, if you look at like Ocarina of Time's Hyrule Field, okay, I mean, it's just a big open world. Like nothing really happens unless like you're doing the Poe hunting, versus Majora's Mask Termina. Like you got to find the one guy that's at I think from like midnight to 2 that's dancing on one of the mushroom rocks, or it was like there was more overworld enemies, like the what are they called, the choo-choos?
Oh yeah, like there are more of those things running around.
Or like I think what the blue bubbles. Like there was more going on in Termina in the Majora's Mask overworld versus the Ocarina of Time overworld.
Was there a favorite mask or power that stuck out to you?
Oh, well for me the bunny hood and the Zora's Mask. Those were the 2 good ones.
You just wanted the speed and the swimming?
Oh, because the swimming was definitely a new. It's like it brings like a new dimension, especially when like I think the third area was like 99% was pretty much incorporated with the water mechanics.
What was the biggest frustration for this game for you?
For me, I think it was like trying to get adjusted to the 3-day cycle, because I will admit I was never good at time management games. That's why you'll never see me play like Pikmin or like real-time strategy games.
Watch your mouth right now. You don't keep Pikmin's name out of your mouth. That's all I'm going to say.
Not saying it's a bad game. I just said I just have bad
time management. Watch your tone.
It's amazing the amount of love you have for a game that you did not play until like 2 years ago.
I love it. I love it. And you're right. I didn't play it until like 2 or 3 years ago. And I played the third one first. What do you want from me? I send my apologies to Miyamoto every time I think about it. That I laughed at it for 20 years. I thought this is dumb looking.
Did you play you got that 1-2 bundle, right?
Yeah. I did not until that package was released. No. That's not what we're here about. We're here for a contained project and experiment that one of the broken off Zelda teams had to put together using assets from Ocarina of Time, and decided that we're just going to make 3 days over and over and over again. Is there anything that sticks out for you for this one? Like any particular memories or any particular, like one of the weirdnesses, boss fights, anything like that?
Oh, the weirdness.
There was a lot of weirdness in this one.
Yeah, there's. I will admit that when I was younger, I always feared. Oh, what are they called? The Reddads, the mummy the Gibdos, the zombies, the mummy. I mean, I was a kid. I would try to purposely avoid as much as I can. Unfortunately, there was that one segment where you actually are forced to talk to them to do the little trading game, and the Akana that just the Akana area was just. It was very interesting because they don't really explain much of the lore of like the war, the blood war, like a bunch of like the different tribes fighting with each other. It was like that era was just emphasis on death, and I think it was like the music house. Like you had to go in there, and you see the father like all wrapped in mummy, just busting out the closet, like just going after you. It's like, okay, what do you do? It's like that whole area was just spooky for me.
Switching over, game 3 is this is, I feel like this is such a jump. But the good game, it's a weird game. Team Fortress 2, and I say weird in a good way because I love Team Fortress 2. This game was so early with everything. I feel like it was so ahead of what games do now that everyone played it. Like it didn't just hold on to one group of gamers. It felt like everyone at some point at least experienced Team Fortress 2. How'd you end up playing this one? Also, it played on any computer, regardless of specs. It worked. So how'd you get into this?
Oh, so I want to say I'm going to shock a lot of people. I only played this when it became free to play, and I unfortunately have the badge to prove of my free to play status. Unfortunately, I put way too much money into this game to where people would think I actually paid at the beginning. So I think I want to say this was the second PC game I played. My first one was Halo Combat Evolve. I found that $20 at a Best Buy, but besides that, this was the second and probably one of the first few first-person shooter games I played that I enjoy. Like I think this is the game where I put the most amount of hours in. I think clearly over 1,000 hours. And I think I even put that on my quest.
I was gonna say that. How did this? Like, did you play a lot of FPS games, or was this like somewhat of an introduction to it? It's a different kind of introduction.
I say it was more of an introduction. I mean, I had I think back then I had a PS3, so I was like in the Call of Duty War That War. I played a little bit of that, Modern Warfare 2, but obviously I was never big into like all the war games, and I think I saw this it finally came free to play. I was like, okay, I'll give it a try. I mean, I had a little rinky-dinky Dell laptop. I played a little bit of that, and I was like, I instantly got into it. Then over the years, I joined the military. I went to my like a tech school, kind of like a little school for military. And funny enough, I went to like a little hangout area, and sure enough, I looked over. I heard some Team Fortress 2 gameplay here, and I looked over. I was like, "Hey, what are y'all doing?" And then somehow I met a good group of military friends, and it was like we were friends for like maybe like friends for like 3, 4, 5 years, and we like play this game like almost every other day. We gamble on like some of the boxes, and I unfortunately spend way too much money on this game.
I was gonna say that's like when I say early, this is early in a lot of things. This was Wild West. Pay for loot box and quote unquote don't gamble, just hope that you paid and something good comes out of the buy. There was no rules when this stuff was out.
Oh yeah, no, you can just spend like $100, $200 on like the keys to unlock everything, or to get lucky on what the equivalent was like just fancy little hats.
Yeah. So what was the what was your go-to class when you were playing?
So I was a soldier main. I was a pretty much the offense class with rocket launcher, splash damage, because I was always a person that I just like splash damage. As long as I can land my shots, or I don't have to have near perfect accuracy. As long as I can land somewhere around you, I get the kills.
Now, so that means no laser rockets, right? We're going just something that's one of the exploding ones.
Yeah, just simply, I think. I think soldiers like abilities or his weapons are pretty much just all rocket launchers. Some has like 3 rounds, some has 4 rounds, but they pretty much all do the same amount of damage minus if you want healing or not.
So what? You have this as an unwritten rule. You said that this was a game that there's unwritten rules that need to be followed. Do you remember what you wrote for that?
Oh, unwritten rules. Oh, there's a bunch of unwritten rules. Usually, the best rule is you always let the melee fighter pull out a melee weapon. You have to honor the melee weapon. You see, what we call the friendly heavy. He's always crouched down with his fist out. He throws a sandwich at you. You have to honor him. You just let him go.
See, let me tell you, I must have had a different experience with this game because I played it when I was, I think, kind of like starting college on some rinky-dink laptop, and it worked totally fine. I have memories of this being the least amount of honor in any game possible, and I think part of it was the wacky sound effects, and everyone just do whatever you feel like and just jump in and blow things up. I don't recall heavies going at it and everyone allowing it to happen.
Oh yeah, like I said, I think that's why I like it, because it's like there's no one really. It's not like like Overwatch. Oh no, that like you have to have an exact team comp of like whatever the meta is now these days. This one is like it's literally like 12 versus 12, and there's no team comp. You can just be like a team of 10 snipers if you just want to go at it, just have fun. It wasn't serious. People just be silly.
It is, and it's one of those things too. It's a game where getting kills alone didn't feel like the be all end all. Like you actually had classes and you could actually had some sort of role and feel like you were contributing to what was happening in the game.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, you could there's no worse character. Everyone had their roles. You could just be like an engineer that just builds a turret, and you can just stay in that one spot, just sit there and hit your wrench all day, and your turret will do all the work for you.
I did in fact sit and hit my wrench all day. That was I thoroughly enjoyed doing that. You ever turn this game on? They updated it semi recently after decades.
So I do keep up with the updates here and there. I did unfortunately stop when the big the bot rampage, where it was pretty much like it was the worst thing because it was like because the sniper in the game, it can pretty much do an instant headshot to do 150, and that was enough to at least one shot, I think 4 of the 9 mercenaries, and then if you just have like 2 or 3. And it's like pretty much just instantly just deletes you. So I heard they fixed that. They removed them. So I've been meaning to try to get back into it again. I think a few of the dads play Team Fortress 2, so maybe we'll try to get a little an event going on.
A mystery untold. A journey through ancient caverns, inner turmoils that become outward strengths. These kinds of stories need a solemn yet comforting pack of music to bring the players closer to your characters as they set forth on a mysterious journey. My name is Adam Evault, otherwise known as Castu Garden, and I just put out my first music asset pack over on itch.io called Neoclassical Mystery. It is available for download for your next indie game dev project. I hope these tracks find you well, and it is time to unfold your mystery.
All right, so we move on to the honorable mentions now. A couple extra games, and the first one, Super Smash Bros. Brawl. Let me tell you, I don't know if we've had somebody choose this one in particular, but it's definitely this is like my nostalgia game when it comes to Smash Bros. I love this one, so. You tell us why Smash Brothers Brawl.
Oh, okay. So I can remember. I remember perfectly. It was like when the first game came out, like around the. Well, let's go with back to the trailers. We saw them. Melee. Melee was starting to slow down. The GameCube era were starting to worship the Wii era. And we see the E3 trailer of Smash Bros. Brawl. We see all the go from the GameCube graphics to the Wii graphics. We saw Twilight Princess Link. You just see all the fanciness, and then we suddenly see Pit, Zero Suit Samus, Wario. Who was? I know there was one more surprise character, and then at the end you saw the Metal Gear Solid intercom, and people went ballistic nuts. A Nintendo or a third party character finally entering the Nintendo's world. Like I said, I didn't know what Metal Gear Solid was until Snake came, and so it was like, and I think a few months later, bam, Sonic. You saw the Sonic trailer, and everyone went nuts. The whole Mario versus Sonic debate. Everyone went nuts. I think I watched that trailer like 5-6 times just to listen to Live and Learn. And so I think February, when the tournament or when the game officially came out, I remember I was shivering my butt off in Georgia. Me and my dad took me to our local GameStop. And funny enough, there was a little Smash tournament, like a day 0 Smash tournament. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna enter it. And I didn't win because I lost to Yoshi's Final Smash, which I was mad because I played Link. And so it was, but passing over time, like I said, it was compared to like Smash 4, Ultimate, Melee, N64. It had a lot more, I'm trying to think of the right word, content. Like, I mean, I could say easily the Subspace Emissary, the whole, fully animated cutscenes. That's an actual story that actually revolve around like other Nintendo worlds kind of colliding. An original boss. Like how it showed like how every Smash character kind of interacts with each other in their own unique way.
So what I want to know, because everything, let me tell you, Smash Brother commercials are some of the best commercials ever made. I thought that one, the E3, is the one that I think about all the time when they show that upgraded graphics. All of a sudden, Mario's clothing is actually made of like material. You can see the stitching on it, like you said, the Link. The Kirby is hilarious because they switched Kirby, but Kirby is exactly the same. Like there's no way to add detail to Kirby, but they still give him the little motion. That was just funny.
Just gotta make a rounder.
They make a round. They do the thing, and I get everyone pretends that it changed, but it didn't at all. Kirby's look the same forever. It's just pink. It's just a pink circle. But those commercials, you're right. The surprise was the snake is huge. But what I want to know is how many times did you trip?
Oh man, how many times have I tripped? You know what? I think there's a stat in the game that tells you how many times you have tripped. I have tripped so many times in that game. But like I said, out of all Smash Brothers Brawl always will be close to my heart because that's also, believe it or not, that's how I first known Lucas. And that's how I kind of delved into like the more of the like I didn't know because no one didn't know there was a Mother 3, a Mother 1. They just knew Earthbound. You bring a person that's unknown in America into a game, and that's where I kind of digged into the Mother series, and that's how I came to enjoy playing, unfortunately, the PK Kids in all the future titles.
Did you ever play any of the modded versions of this game?
I have indeed. I actually played the PM version. I actually went to a little local tournament. I played it. I wasn't good at it, but I mean, I was like one of the few. Like I think I was like the only NES player there that was like, okay, hey, I know how to do a little bit of the funniness.
So this was the game. So is this where the NES started? were you playing NES in the first two games at all, or is this where it kind of just where you finally like decided to do it?
I mean, I played him in like the first two. I played him in the first two iterations. I mean, I think I was like, I think I bounced between NES and, well, I think I bounced like with Link, in both of those. But like, I think Brawl was actually the first game or first one I actually went to a local a tournament at a anime convention. You know, I saw, went to an anime convention. I saw like, oh hey, they have Smash Brothers. I jumped in and I played it. Obviously, I didn't understand the meta, the tier list. I just played for funs and giggles. But yes, I would say Brawl was the game that kind of sparked, like, hey, you're going to be a NES main. People are going to hate you. People are going to love the PK Fires, but they're going to have to learn to enjoy it.
I have one more question, but I have to save it for the next game because it's one entire question. So I'm gonna jump to the next game. Mario Kart Wii. We got back-to-back Wii games here. Just the resurgence of Nintendo. I mean, I say resurgence as if I didn't love the GameCube and playing games on it, but financially the resurgence with the Wii. Is Mario Kart Wii? Is this where all the inward drifters were born? Is that why? Is that what it is? Is if you inward drift, you automatically choose Mario Kart Wii as your game?
I don't know about that rumor, but yes, that's where a lot of, or at least that's where I came from with the infamous inward drifting bikes. Because unfortunately, I was part of a Mario Kart Wii clan. Like it was essentially like how I think what y'all do, like y'all just pretty much like race like other teams. We kind of scored. It was like a Mario Kart Wii forums. We coordinate with the teams, and we just do like a good, I think like 6v6 racing, and it was like pretty much accumulate whoever got the most points win. Unfortunately, the meta for the game was heavily dominated by bikes, because they had the ability to do wheelies, which gave them a faster speed. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say you're all so. You got into competitive racing pretty quickly with the Mario Kart Wii. Let's talk about the online Wii servers, because we struggle with the Switch servers, but the Nintendo Wii was I mean, it was fighting for dear life, even with Smash Brothers too. I played that a bit online. Smash Brothers online was tough. How was Mario Kart Wii?
I'm trying to think. I mean, it has its silliness. It's like you can see a green shell pass you, like completely face to your body, and it'll still register it as hits. I think you still have to like predict where they're going just a little bit to get the good hits. The bumping was unreal in that game, because like
the filthy cheaters everywhere.
I mean, between that, there was a lot of exploits you could do in the game. Like you can cheese. So many tracks. Like you can. Grumble Volcano was like one of the worst tracks in the game, because you can, as soon as the race starts, you can go left, jump on go on a little mountain path, and if you do circles around it, it consider it like a full lap in the game.
Yep.
So like a 45-second full lap, it's like 5 seconds right there. And you have like everybody like trying to do it all at once, so you got like everyone bumping each other just off the bat.
Did you practice this? Did you do time trials to practice this game, or was it just racing a bunch and getting better like that?
I'm probably gonna anger a few people. I never tried to do time trialing much, because time trialing with just by yourself with 3 mushrooms is different versus 11 other people trying to target you, random items thrown everywhere. So it's like you can't really. It's a different field of view mindset when like you're trying to do time trial versus trying to just race for first, or how some people like to be sandbag.
Did you give tilt controls a chance at all, or was it just plug in a GameCube controller and let's get going?
I think I did GameCube, and I also did the Wii Remote Nunchuck. I think I did a little bit of those because, like I said, because like to do the wheelies for the Wii Remote, you have to flick your Wii Remote up, or like on the GameCube, you have to press up on the D-pad. Which, like I said, the bikes were superior in every way, and when you have the best character in the game on a bike, it was nearly unbeatable.
So, what character were you going with, and which inward bike, if you remember?
Oh, it was always the Flame. The Flame Rider was, because there was only, I want to say each character had about two. Well, there was only 3 weight classes: light, medium, heavy. And well, if you count for like the hidden stats of the characters, usually the Flame Rider was the best for the medium weight or for the heavyweights. I think for me, I fortunately joined the Funky Kong clan, and I did a little bit of the Rosa and a little bit of the Heavy Me.
And give us the best course and the worst course.
Oh, the best course! Oh, Coconut Mall. I will never say no to Coconut Mall. The worst track? Oh, I want to say the GameCube DK Mountain.
Okay, one more on that. Were you happy or upset when they updated the Switch Coconut Mall to make sure that the Shy Guy cars moves back and forth?
Oh, I was angry.
That was a thing that when they first brought it out, they left the cars not moving, and I think everyone freaked out and they switched it to have them move back and forth.
Well, in the Wii version, they just go back and forth. That was, and I think, funny enough, I think it was driven by like Mii's. And yeah, obviously in the new one, they just do a little turnabout with a Shy Guy on it. So yes, it was a little downgrade, but overall, like I said, I will never say no to some Coconut Mall.
All right, well, on to your final honorable mention in Final Fantasy IX. And I have to ask you why this one of all of Final Fantasy?
So I think this, like, I'm going to go kind of like how I was with Earthbound. Like I said, this is also one of the first Final Fantasy games I played and beat on my own. So yeah, on me on that. This is also one of my, kind of like how I think I first saw it with my dad playing it. I mean, he played, I want to say my dad was a Final Fantasy. He played 7, 8, 6, and Tactics. And then 9 just somehow was the one that I connected to the best with, in my opinion.
I mean, you're going from like dark to darker to like this one's light and whimsical compared to 7 and 8?
It's a lot. Well, like I said, I know 7 is a lot like, the whole, the futuristic of Midgar. I'm still working on 8, so I don't know too much, but I know it's a lot kind of like the same thing, it's like all the technology stuff. 9
it's also
was
just like aesthetically darker. Like it's just like a lot of browns and grays. In 8 is like 8 I just remember being like from a palette perspective, it's just so much darker. And they found their colors for 9.
Yeah, the 9, like I said, 9 had a lot of good, like a lot of the vibrant colors. Like, well, usually in the beginning, like, it was all darker because, I mean, spoilers for another 30-year-old game. It was like the mist was covering the continent. So it was a little darker once you progress like part of the story. Everything starts lightening up, got better. But I say this is the one, like, it kind of broke a lot of like the other rules of like the Final Fantasy, because this is just my opinion. Like all the main protagonist was a sword, like a warrior, knight, sword, like wherever you want to be called, soldier, and then like you went to 9. Hey, it's a thief. I was like, okay, that's actually interesting. He's not no OP warrior, nothing gifted. Nah, he was just a thief, which later in the game you figure out who he truly was, how he was able to manipulate some like I guess the in-game forms. But yeah, it was definitely an interesting take. He wasn't like no silent, I'm going to be always mopey main character. No, this was like a fun, flirty, fun, flirty guy.
There was whimsy to this game. There was, yeah. That's what I mean. Like
It had a charm. It was silly.
charm.
It wasn't
Charm.
the charm. Yes, it was a silly game. Like I said, I mean, even beginning the game, hey, you go to a play. You got you're a little black mage, Vivi, which he was,
thank you for getting to Vivi. Thank you.
oh yeah, the best black mage in all the series.
Would Final Fantasy 16 shove Final Fantasy 9 in a locker?
Oh, probably. Ooh, probably not. I'm gonna go with that.
Would just mope in it? Would 16 just mope in the corner? Is that? Never mind. I'm sorry.
Like I said,
Bring the whimsy back, Square. Bring the whimsy back.
Oh yeah, like I said, I mean, just a little bit of silliness in the game is always nice to have, especially like even in Final Fantasy 9, you have like the what I forgot what they called it in the game, but like you at certain progress you can go like you can see a cutscene of like other characters that's always something silly, or you get to more dig into their character.
Charm and whimsy's okay, Square. Charm and whimsy.
Oh, definitely. Even though I have yet not to beat the super boss yet.
All right, let's move to the future. One game you are looking forward to, Mario Party Jamboree. A lot of people are looking forward to this one, myself included. Are you a big Mario Party fan in general, or is it just something about this one?
I played I played a few of the Mario parties. Like I said, I mean, back when before I lived on my own, like with my family. Like I said, we played like Mario Party, like maybe like once a week, and I think I forgot which one we played. It was the Wii one, so I think that was 8 or 9. And like I said, it was one of those games I can always come back to play. I haven't played any of the newer ones with the online. I should. I think some of the dads played online as well.
We've played a little bit, but this one's going to be different.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. I know this is probably, and like I said, I have my wife and my 6-year-old son. Maybe I can always definitely try to play with them. See who's the better Mario Party player.
Here we're gonna have lots of characters, a bunch of different modes. Watch the video of gameplay. It was in Spanish for whatever reason. Somewhere I think like South America they got like gameplay footage, and they were showing so many versions. Some of them looked like you were playing as a team against the computer, some against each other. It seems like there's a lot going on in this game.
Yeah, I would say I think the previous Mario Party was like Mario Party Superstars one, the one that kind of brought like the older courses. I think. Yeah. I mean, I would be one of the. I'll probably be like one of the many people that said like if that game just had DLCs or just expanded on it more, I think it would have been good. But if the Mario Party Jamboree is going to bring something new, as long as it keeps it traditional Mario Party, no little car going together as one, because I think that was the one Mario Party I did not like.
On that note, we head to a question from the Channel 3 history books that we picked for you to discuss here with us today. We're going to tell you that one of these franchises has to go. The Legend of Zelda, Donkey Kong, Kirby, or Metroid. Who's got to go and why?
Oh, I think I said Donkey Kong.
You did, I invoke so Ray could get smug here, but go on.
Okay. So obviously I'm a big Zelda fan, so obviously that's out of the picture. Kirby, it was hard when I made my top 3, I was almost tempting to put Kirby Superstar Ultra.
Great, amazing, absolutely amazing game. Yes.
So it was a big toss-up between Donkey Kong and Metroid. I did play more of the Metroid games, Metroid Fusion. I actually have the collection of the Metroid Prime Trilogy collection. But Donkey Kong, I was like, I don't think I ever truly beaten a Donkey Kong game outside of like the Mario versus Donkey Kong on the Game Boy.
I'm almost finished with Mario vs. Donkey Kong on the Switch. I'm very slowly playing it with my son. I think we're gonna start World 8. We just beat 7 today.
Yeah, I think I saw the gameplay. I was like, oh look, that actually looks similar to the one on the Game Boy. So I may have to give that one a try.
It is very okay. It is a game. It is a game of the year.
It's a Game Boy Advance game that's been brought into with minimal changes 20 years into the future.
It is in fact one of the games.
Yeah, but unfortunately, like I said, not gonna throw no hate to Donkey Kong, but unfortunately, the monkey's got to go.
This is as clear as it comes, as far as I'm concerned. A wonderful character. It's a wonderful series. There's nothing wrong with it.
Oh yeah, there's no flaws. It's just
think the other 3 are better. All right, what's been your favorite feature on Channel 3, Raddad?
Oh, the feature. I always love the maps. Well, that and Joel finally fixing the landscape mode, so I don't have to have my phone automatically view it in landscape when I'm trying to look at Channel 3 from the side. But definitely the maps.
Ooh, that's a big update. A lot of people were very happy with when the app stopped. Yeah, recent update when the app stopped turning sideways. That was huge.
Yeah, I've been thinking of throwing some maps around for myself to donate. I just have to not be lazy and actually do it.
We'll take them. We'll take as many different maps. I've got a couple maps I have to do, but we'll take them.
I may throw an Earthbound map or two since there's already overworlds in the game, so maybe I can try to sneak one in.
And on that note, we've made it to the end of another What Are Your 3 podcasts. Thank you, Raddad, for being with us. You can find the podcast every Wednesday morning at 3:33 a.m. Eastern on all the major platforms, including Spotify, YouTube Music, and Apple Podcasts. I'm Ray. Dan puts this all together. Our theme song is by Castor Garden. And for our executive producer, Joel Willis, have a good day, everybody.
Channel 3 is the future.